The energy inside the arena during the dramatic fall on the stage floor was only the beginning of a chaotic domino effect that quickly swept across the entire stadium. As Jungkook lay perfectly still, fully committed to his theatrical demise, the arena's heavy bass from the background track seemed to fade out against the sheer volume of the roaring crowd. Taehyung, still on his knees, realized mock CPR wasn't working, so he elevated the drama. He leaned back, flung his arms toward the stadium rafters, and let out a silent, agonizing scream of grief, mimicking a tragic hero in a classic K-drama. The cameraman, perfectly in tune with the members' unpredictable energy, kept the lens tightly locked on Taehyung's face, capturing every ounce of his exaggerate sorrow in crystal clear high definition on the massive LED screens. Just as Jimin arrived to investigate, Jin marched over from the main stage, completely abandoning his position near the stage-left barricade. Known as the group's resident chaotic older brother, Jin didn't try to stop the madness, instead, he immediately joined in. He sprinted toward the scene, slid down on his knees across the polished stage floor, and began dramatically waving his arms over Jungkook, loudly vocalizing a chaotic, operatic lament that echoed over the stadium speakers. The sight of three of the world's big Saint pop stars completely derailed a tightly scheduled stadium show to put on a flawless, impromptu comedy sketch had fans in the upper tiers screaming so loud the floorboards literally vibrated. Jungkook, meanwhile, proved his legendary core strength by maintaining a perfectly rigid, frozen posture through all of this, his eyes tightly shut, though a tiny, telltale twitch at the corner of his lips betrayed just how hard he was fighting not to burst out laughing. Jimin finally knelt down, grabbed Jungkook by his wrists, and attempted to drag him across the stage like a sack of potatoes. This finally broke the golden magnate's resolve. Jungkook cracked a massive, radiant bunny smile, broke character with a bright laugh, and used the momentum to flip himself up, springing back onto his feet with an effortless, athletic bound that drew another massive cheer from the crowd. Instead of walking away, Jungkook immediately locked eyes with Taehyung, his expression instantly shifting from playful to competitive. In a flash, a high-speed chase commenced. Taehyung, anticipating the retaliation, took off like a shot down the long stage catwalk toward the extended B stage. Jungkook hot on his heels, sprinting with terrifying speed, his oversized concert hoodie billowing behind him. They bolted past Namjoon, who was on the microphone attempting to introduce the next song, completely unfazed by his younger brothers barreling past him like a pair of hyperactive kids at a playground. Namjoon merely paused, gave the audience a weary, paternal smile that said, "I deal with this every day," and waited for the whirlwind to pass. By the time Taehyung reached the very edge of the extended stage, he realized he was cornered by the crowd boundaries. He turned around, hands raised in a mock plea for mercy. Just as Jungkook caught up to him, instead of a tackle, Jungkook grabbed Taehyung by the shoulders and began spinning him around in a fast, dizzying circle, turning the entire moment into a joyful, chaotic dance right in front of the front row fans. The sheer infectious happiness radiating from the two of them was palpable, turning the massive, intimidating stadium into what felt like an intimate, private gathering of close friends. On social media, the aftermath of the Japan stage incident was instant and massive. Within minutes, fan cam footage shot from 50 different angles was circulating on global timelines, breaking view count records for concert clips. Fans analyzed every single frame, from the exact micro-expression of betrayal on Jungkook's face to the chaotic way Jin's lit into the frame to join the morning party. Mainstream media outlets even picked up on the trending topic, noting that BTS's unparalleled charm lies precisely in their ability to shatter the rigid, perfectionist boundaries of typical stadium pop shows with genuine, unscripted human connection. When the members finally gathered back at the center stage to catch their breath and deliver their final closing speeches for the night, the playful tension still hadn't completely dissipated. Taehyung, holding his microphone, looked over at Jungkook, gave a sweet smile, and gently patted the exact shoulder he had hit earlier, ensuring his younger brother was okay. Jungkook responded by leaning in and bumping his shoulder back against Taehyung's, a silent, universal code of affection between two people who have spent their entire formative years navigating the highs and lows of global superstardom side by side. It was a chaotic, unforgettable night that proved once again why ARMY remains so fiercely devoted to the unique, Beautiful bond that defines BTS. BTS's recent tour stop in Japan was already electric, but a single, unscripted moment between Kim Taehyung and Jungkook completely shattered the atmosphere, shifting the night from a high-octane musical showcase into a state of beautiful, chaotic pandemonium. It all happened in a flash during a high-energy transition between songs. A time when the members usually interact casually with the crowd, wave to fans, and let their natural chemistry shine. Taehyung, known globally for his eccentric charm and spontaneous on-stage antics, sneaked up behind the youngest member with a mischievous glint in his eye. In a classic display of their long-standing sibling dynamic, Taehyung playfully landed a theatrical hit right on Jungkook's shoulder. It was the kind of exaggerated, dramatic move that Taehyung executes flawlessly, complete with a mock-serious facial expression that immediately drew gasps and giggles from the closest sections of the audience. Normally, a playful nudge like this results in Jungkook giggling, flashing his famous bunny smile, or simply chasing Taehyung around the massive stage in a harmless game of tag. But this time, Jungkook's response completely broke the mold and caught everyone, including Taehyung himself, entirely off guard. Instead of laughing it off or retaliating with a typical younger brother shove, Jungkook froze on the spot. He slowly turned around, his face completely deadpan, adopting an intensely dramatic, cinematic glare that belonged in a high-budget action movie rather than a pop concert. The stadium screens zoomed in on his face, magnifying his faux shocked, piercing expression to tens of thousands of fans. For a split second, a heavy silence fell over the immediate crowd. People tried to figure out if the golden matinee was actually startled or playing along. Then, the unexpected twist came. Jungkook didn't break character, instead, he dramatically dropped his microphone into his left hand, clutched his shoulder as if he had just taken a devastating blow from a superhero, and began to slowly collapse to the stage floor in slow motion. He spun dramatically, letting his knees buckle with the theatrical grace of an opera performer, casting one final, heartbreaking look of betrayal at Taehyung before laying completely flat on the stage. The arena absolutely erupted. The sudden transition from an energetic concert track to a full-blown, silent-era comedy skit left armies screaming, laughing, and clutching their chests in unison. Taehyung's reaction was equally priceless. His tough guy persona evaporated instantly, replaced by a wide, boxy grin as he stared down at Jungkook's lifeless body on the stage. Realizing he had to keep the bit going, Taehyung dropped to his knees, frantically performing mock CPR on Jungkook, pumping his hands in the air just above Jungkook's chest while looking up at the stadium screens with a face of pure, theatrical panic. What really left fans speechless was how long the duo managed to commit to the bit without breaking character, effectively hijacking their own concert timeline for a minute of pure, unadulterated chaos. The other BTS members, who were scattered across the stage interacting with fans on the opposite wings, slowly started to notice the commotion. Jimin was the first to wander over, shaking his head, with a mixture of fondness and exhaustion that every older sibling recognizes, before casually nudging Jungkook with his